Hey, oh man, it's been a little while since there's been some FF14 reaction and breakdown content, but man, Omega Beyond the Rift, came out as a part, of course, of 6.1.5, and you know, as much as this is only because it builds on top of everything that has came before, I have got to say it is an absolute crowning achievement. It is a perfect victory lap, not only to Omega, but of course to really Endwalker itself. It's like an emotional victory lap, epilogue, re-interrogation, re-examination of, really of the themes of the whole expansion. It's so great. Oh my god. You need to, first off, if you haven't, right, man, you gotta do Omega, okay? You just have to do Omega. The Omega raid is awesome. I mean, you've probably seen Alpha. You'll be having big thoughts and big feelings as you see our little boy run. Omega's so great. And after you do Omega, I mean, you have to do the twinning as well. You really have to do the twinning. And think through all of that. And then, of course, read the short story that they put up online. Now, spoiler-wise, I think it's now sort of time to talk about those spoilers. Now that you kind of know that broadly, I absolutely love this. There's one thing I actually really do like. So, with the short story, it becomes very apparent that Omega, the cute little toy robot, is, Omega. That Omega's in there somehow. So here they're very much making that canon in-game, which is great because it totally solidifies the adventures of Alpha and Omega as like a thing going forward. It solidifies Omega's journey, right, as an ongoing part of the lore. But essentially the way the things work is, examining the logs from the Ragnarok. There's a mysterious message. No one can understand it. Turns out the message is essentially in the language of the Omicron. Meaning, of course, that Omega will be able to translate it. But Omega, of course, is embarking. I mean, if you think about the end of the Omega raid, it's like Omega's working out, you know what? I can't predict these things. What's going on? Sort of dealing with, the whole core conceit of like you're going through the Omicron stuff in Ultima Thule. Thule? Yes, it's Thule. You're going around in Ultima Thule, and you're thinking like, okay, the Omicron are perfect logical robots. Why would they choose to end their oh wait, it's because they're more than perfect logical robots. There's something else going on there. Evidently, a shred of the civilization that used to be in the past is still there. You can deduce that there is heart somehow in Omicron, even after everything awful that they did. And it's like that little, that getting the shred of that for each society that you visit in Ultima Thule is like the part of that that's just like, conceptual levels of special. But of course, Omega is one of them. Omega's trying to work out why did we decide to end it all? This doesn't make any sense to me. So in order to try to understand this, Omega wants to understand heart. Because the entire reason, of course, that we defeat Omega in the raid is we just have that that's something, right? That's something that a robot just can't go beep boop and know exactly what's going on. That heart, that soul. So Omega's trying to work out what the hell is heart, what is soul. And even, the strength of the heart and soul like that, even, to Alexander cutting, through to that raid. I mean, man, anytime Biggs and Wedge turn up, you just know it's going to be a brilliant time in this game. So, of course, we, Omega can decipher, can translate this language, should it wish to. But it's like, no. First, I really want you to help me understand what's going on, because Omega is starting to think about Dynamis, and obviously everything that Dynamis represents, which is particularly meaningful to a more cold, sort of logical, or at least so you would think, being like itself. So I guess what commences is basically just the perfect opportunity for their team to just, do a victory lap. Do such a victory lap of of everything. And, you know, at every point, we have different perspectives, basically, on why we go on. And it's, you know, it's the sort of thing, I think anyone who's ever seen or suffered with, felt permanently or transiently some, you know, form of depression or suffering or adversity, you know that is like, you know, that why go on is so at the core of, I mean, it really is so at the core of why they seem to write, isn't it? Which I think is why, you know, instead of just kind of being a, oh, you know, here's a big aspirational story full of awesome heroes, you know, like, I don't know, like a Marvel movie or something. That's not to completely discount the Marvel stuff, of course, but, you know, there's just that little deeper level, you know? And I guess here, going through Razathan, talking to all those different characters, and the thing I love too is, through this, you know, the amount of little bit part characters they're able to bring back in, you can sort of see how, you know, what we did impacted them, see the unique reasons why they decided to go on, and through the entire time, Omega's sitting there basically trying to reason what is going on. Why are these people not doing the perfect, logical thing? And it's almost like that when you maybe face adversity in your life, and, you know, it's like, the answer is easy, bro. Just get up early in the morning, clean up your room, do this, do that, do that, do this, you know, make all of the correct assumptions, all the correct moves, and you'll be fine. It'll all get better. And then, like, that rings so hollow to somebody who knows what the logical thing to do is. But there's an intangible something else that's going on. And that's the intangible something else that Omega is trying to find out through this entire time. Be it wondering, you know, why did this person, you know, why did they lose themselves whenever the final days happened? Why did this person react in this manner, right? And it's just all... You know, it's that, like, great science fiction trope. It's what made characters like Data so beloved. Of the robot trying to work out what's making the humans tick. Which is obviously always a way... Or it's always just the way that the writers can then try to, like, really dive deep into the human condition. Try to work out what makes us tick. Why do we go on when things really can look just fucking bleak sometimes? And they just do that. With... a little clockwork toy, and a big fluffy chicken. It's Chocobo, I know. You get my point. Right? And throughout this quest, they do it with the perfect balance of... I mean, the perfect balance of being really serious and really meaningful, and then just getting to goof around and joke about the hierarchy of fluffiness between, of course, Argos, the Loperids. If you're Miko, you. I wonder what that line is like for Hrothgar. They are definitely more fluffy. It's just such a great quest. And then, of course, you hit Garlemald. Start playing music. And again, it's a way for them to just revisit and perform, like, the perfect victory lap. And I guess... I don't know, man. There's just something about the way that they just really... They keep it so real, and they kind of, like, you know, they really cut through to the heart of your own experience living your own life, and you kind of see it from a different angle. I mean, obviously the different angle of it being alpha, also obviously the different angle of it being a fantasy video game. But I think that's, like, what makes the writing in this game, like, really powerful. Like, I don't know if this was, like, done by Ishikawa or something, but whoever was involved in writing this, like, you kind of know they've been through the shit, they've thought about it. Researched a lot of classic work as well. They're just bringing complete fire, and it's like every line that comes up is just so imbued with meaning, and it keeps on happening. And of course, there's the bit where we are thinking about some of our Amarottian or ancient friends, villains. By the way, I chose the first dialogue option for that. That, you know, it was all understandable for each character involved. Vana, you know, Amitselk, etc. Yeah, that was a great dialogue choice. And again, they really just have a thing of every time a dialogue choice comes up, you're like, okay, time to really interrogate my own experience of this game. Alpha Beyond the Rift is honestly one of my favorite little questing experiences in this game. It lasts around an hour. But I'll tell you, the ending of this, for me, was like hitting super strong, maybe even a little bit above. The part, of course, in the Omega raid toward the end, when Alpha is just going on the big run. You know, the scene, the big run scene. Oh, such a great scene. Just, of course, they're able to use, you know, closing the distance. Flow, you know, the piano version. Which, you know, I mean, what does music do? It just cuts straight to the fucking soul. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I do think that Shadowbringers was the tighter expansion overall, but it's like on a thematic level, I kind of prefer what Endwalker is grappling with. And I think it's why Omega Beyond the Rift, like, for me, is completely, perfectly nailed it. Just perfectly nailed it. Because it's doing such a beautiful, like, concise wrapping up of so much of what Endwalker meant, but almost in a way re-explaining it, re-examining it, taking it on from a different angle of how this, like, seemingly cold machine is understanding what the final days meant. And I think that really is just the powerful thing of the way that they orchestrated the final days. That, you know, via Dynamis, it is ultimately about emotion. Or it's ultimately about, per Omega, that intangible heart and soul that makes us all go on. And, man, it's so strong. As for where things go, first of all, I'm really lucky that I handed in the final quest when it was nighttime in-game, because all those scenes, like looking up to the stars and everything. I mean, maybe the game just sets it to be nighttime, that would totally make sense, but man, it was beautiful. Especially with a good G-Shade. Of course, though, the final message, which is essentially just a message of hope. A message of hope that, of course, is written in is it Pan-Universe or Pan-Galactic Basic? Which is essentially the language of the Omicron. Which, I mean, is quite interesting that message would come from Omicron. And it's kind of interesting in how you're kind of dealing with all of the philosophical implications of things. Because ultimately to Omega, like, Omega does not gain a full understanding of the soul. But Omega does come to the conclusion that it has the capacity to have one. That there's a non-zero chance that it will understand. Because ultimately, if you think back to our experience of the Omicron and Ultima Thule, it kind of doesn't make sense that the perfect robots would go to Meteon and end themselves. So, you know, he's just trying to work out why this happened, and ultimately, their leader had to feel that that was the right choice. Right? So, I just love how Omega's now been set up as a character where the very, you know, mechanical, like, logical setup, like, it's evident. It's, like, factually, logically evident that, yeah, that there is a soul, right, in the Omicron, even though, like, all the terrible things they did, all of the just the way that they work, but the fact that their leader made that decision, obviously based on some form of feeling, kind of means that, like, Omega has been given this, like, North Star to sort of guide the future development. And I think, I don't want to just sort of sit here and just go through a tick list, because I think these videos, you know, they're more rambly, they're less specific. I can't just sit down and rack off all the points perfectly, but I really like recording these just after, just after I've done the thing, because you get the emotional hit, right? There's something comes through the camera different, I just know it. But it's just like the execution of all the details. Just that feeling that every single line has got some meaning in it. Every single line is, like, pretty much perfect. Every single character is just grappling with how the fuck they even, you know, keep on going with all that they've lost is just, man. Yeah, no, they're some of my favorite writers. It really is that simple. They're some of my favorite writers because they don't beat around the bush. You know? And I guess that's the thing. They're not interested in providing false escapism. And maybe that's the useful thing about live recording these without a script. sometimes I just kind of dig up what I really think. And I think that might actually be some of the core of why I enjoy this, even though it is a big story with robots in space, time travel, Alpha, the cutest thing in the universe. But it basically is that. It is escapism in that, like, what it is a game, but, like, in terms of meaning, in terms of emotion, in terms of some of the very human struggles that, like, we sort of deal with on a daily basis, it's not escapism from that. It's not, like, you know, showing this false heroism of greater beings or something. It really is just, like, cutting to the core. I don't know about you, but I don't want to just say that, like, look, I can tell that the people who wrote this game have, like, you know, been through depression and been through the shit and learned a hell of a lot about what it means to be a human and to still go on. But that is the goddamn feeling that I just find oozing from Endwalker, and I just love having been able to execute it. And this has been an utterly beautiful, perfect victory lap. This quest is, like, for me, the cherry on the top of Endwalker. I didn't expect it to be that. I thought I would get, and look, I did get what I wanted, because what I wanted was, oh, Omega's really cool, and Alpha's really cute. I just want some more interactions. I got that. And then I got the perfect victory lap for this expansion. It makes me think I really need to do the role quests and all the new stuff that's coming out there. I need to do Tatara's Grand Adventure. But there you go. That's it. Just let this be my reaction thrown out to the world of just how fucking beautiful their writing is, and how just thankful I am that there are people making what I suppose you could call, you know, mass media, that are so adept at cutting through to the fucking struggle that is at the heart of all of our existences. That might be a bit of a grand thing to say, but fuck that. I actually believe it. Okay. A little bit of housekeeping now. So, things have been going on. Right, I do want to get the quantity of content up on this channel in the future, but I'm not going to make any promises right now, because honestly, there's a hell of a lot going on. We're at a very critical stage of game development. I say that in a really good way, though. Actually, the demo for our game, The Pale Beyond, is actually live in Steam right now. So if you want to play our demo, I think it's up till either tomorrow or Sunday. So you'll be able to play that. We've got, I think it's like between 1.5 and 2.5 hours of content. There's just there to play. And I mean, if you're an ultra-wide monitor, aspect ratios will not work. That will be fixed for actual release, don't worry. But like the feedback we've been getting has been awesome. I mean, goddamn, we were like featured at the OTK Expo, which was super cool. That was super cool. And I suppose as a final little parting thing, we shall put a excerpt of our soundtrack, which, I mean, the soundtrack, it's one of, I mean, it's like I love every part of the game. The soundtrack is just one of the bits that, like, there's just something about music. It's one of the things, I mean, you cannot help but learn from Final Fantasy XIV, and so many other things, but music just cuts to the soul. It's like nobody knows what the soul is, no one knows what the heart is, but we all know the music speaks to it somehow. It just happens. And, yeah, so I'll leave you with some music for today's video. You can wish list the game if you want, check out the demo. So that's really what's been taking up a decent bit of my time. We're also just trying to expand things, and we're trying to make it so that we can make content across all of our channels, have it be really good, but also not burn ourselves out, which, you know, is like it's a real ass like challenge, especially when everything's numbers in YouTube. So, you know, if you're trying to take a little bit of a break, or you're trying to like really focus in on what's like healthy for the long term, YouTube is going to provide you with a number that is going to go way down, and then that's going to make you feel, you know, really like not sure of yourself. Honestly, sometimes a bit of old fucking depression does actually slip in. It does, like, man, it does for everyone on this platform. The beast needs its content, unfortunately. But we're trying to cut through that and really actually do what is right. And I suppose one of the things that's been nice there, you know, I've been checking out some of their MMOs, SWOTOR, Guild Wars 2, I think ESO soon, and I want to get back to Guild Wars as well. That content actually just kind of goes out there, and just people seem to enjoy it for weeks and weeks, which is like kind of nice. I've been used to, you know, breaking Warcraft news, breaking news in the news channel, but it's been nice just being able to really just chill, enjoy an MMO, a video goes out, and it just gets bumped around YouTube for like weeks and months on end. So I think that kind of like experiential content That's really the direction I think we're going to be going in on this channel. We do have some other cool ideas, but, you know, everything in good time. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and certainly, man, if you're ever feeling a bit down about yourself, ever feeling a bit funky, just go play Omega and Beyond the Rift. And, you know, check back in with FF14. It will make you remember why you suffer through it all, I think. And that is the power of really good stories, and that is why I love what this team does. So that's been my impression. There you go. Hey, I got a 20-minute video out of a 50-minute quest. Bam. But no, it's fucking beautiful. You owe it to yourself. And hey, if you can't play this because you haven't finished the Omega raid, well, that's good news, because now you can go and do the Omega raid. And it's a real treat as well. Especially, like, it's quite, you know, backloaded. So a lot of the really, like, heavy-hitting stuff's towards the end. But trust me, it's so worth it. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I'll see you when I see you, and goodbye.